As the movie begins, the protagonist Alex Jacobs enters his house as per his daily routine until he is shocked to find a dead body in his living room. The most unusual part is that when he flips the body over, he realizes that it is him. Alex discovers an envelope near the corpse, saying, "Watch me," so he rips it open and finds a flash drive inside. With curiosity taking the better of him, Alex plugs the drive into his laptop and opens the document, which shows a video of Alex himself. He reassures the original Alex that he is not under the influence of drugs and advises him to listen to the video carefully. It all goes back to when Alex was first contacted by agents from a scientific research institute of advanced technologies called ARIST, which is under contract from the National Security Agency of the USA. Rebecca makes Alex a compelling job offer, but does not reveal the details unless Alex signs the NDA, for which she offers him a big check. Once he signs it, Rebecca tells him that her agency wants Alex to decipher an encrypted message. As it happens, about 2 months ago, there was an unregistered American military satellite in orbit, only that the satellite was never launched by the USA. ARIST retrieved and examined it and recently discovered an encrypted code inside it. After a series of tests, their scientists are convinced that this satellite might be from the future, which is why they want Alex to help them decipher the code. Rebecca offers that if Alex accepts the offer, they will put him to sleep and transport him to a secret laboratory where he will be briefed about the mission. Since Alex had a bad experience working for the NSA last time, which tarnished his reputation, he isn't too keen about this job, but Rebecca reminds him that he needs it, as he is practically bankrupt and lives in an inherited house. She instantly transfers a huge sum of money to his account, which makes him reconsider and finally accept the offer. The morning after, the men in black show up again and put him in their car, where they inject him with a sedative. Alex wakes up inside the facility, and shortly after, Rebecca takes him to the lab harboring the chamber that contains the key. She relays the information they have on it so far, and Alex happily starts working on it, although he warns Rebecca that it might take a while. 5 weeks go by, but Alex is not even close. Rebecca suggests that he take a weekend off, but he is adamant about solving it without a break and refuses. After Rebecca leaves, Alex gets back to his work, but has a vision of a young woman decoding the key. Suddenly, he gets a nosebleed and is unable to understand what's happening to him. Later that night, he accidentally finds a binary code engraved on his bed, so he copies it into his notebook and figures it out to be the name of a woman, Beth Carter, a cryptographer who worked here before him. Thinking about what the woman in his vision said, he starts working on the code and is finally able to decipher some part of it, which contains blueprints of an unknown machine. He signals Rebecca to visit him and informs her that he knows they had another cryptographer here before him, probably the woman from his vision. Then he tells her that this machine might be their first line of defense, as the future is warning them about the Third World War. Rebecca appreciates his work and signals her guys to take him back instantly, announcing the end of his contract. Before he can say anything, Alex is sedated and he wakes up in his bed feeling sick. He blames it on the fatigue of the past few weeks. However, his exhaustion only seems to worsen, and he starts experiencing hallucinations. 4 days later, 2 strange-looking men show up at his doorstep looking for some answers. They curiously inquire why he helped decode the key, and when Alex says that it paid well, they question his morality regarding his work, as he might have played a role in making one of the biggest weapons in the history of mankind. Alex is already upset because of his migraine, and his head begins to hurt badly, so he asks the guys to leave. They thank him for his cooperation and leave, which surprisingly makes Alex's pain vanish instantly. He hops on his computer and types in a prompt, but suddenly his screen goes blank and he receives a call from Rebecca, warning him that his prompt is in direct violation of the NDA he signed. Alex is furious that they hacked his computer and bugged his house, but Rebecca warns him and drops the call before Alex can inquire about the 2 strange men. Later that night, Alex is working on something when the light goes out again. Alex steps out to figure out what caused the power outage when he notices one of those 2 strange men on the other side of the street. Much to Alex's horror, the man's body begins to dysmorph, stretching as he grows into a towering giant right in front of his eyes. Alex freaks out and rushes back inside his home and runs upstairs. A strange noise from the window catches his attention, and he sees the giant man trying to reach for him. For some reason, Alex extends his hand to reach the giant's fingers. The scene changes, and Rebecca arrives with 2 men at Alex's house. Finding the door open, she steps inside, only to find the house completely messy and disheveled. She finds Alex in a frenzy, working on an equation he just couldn't figure out until he realized that the human race lives in 2-dimensional space, whereas the strange creatures are a highly advanced civilization existing in space and time simultaneously. They have been watching the humans through windows in time, and given the extreme exposure to the radiation emitted by the satellite chamber, Alex is somehow able to see them back. He begs her not to use that machine since it is not from the future, but from the aliens themselves, to start World War III, while they watch the human race decimate itself. Rebecca asks him to stop and informs him that she is aware of his brain tumor. Alex blames her for putting him so close to the radioactive device, which gave him the tumor. Rebecca asks him to stop his madness and offers to accommodate any hospice services that Alex might require. Back in the present, Alex drags his dead body out of the house and buries it in the forest. Then he returns home and listens to the rest of his video. The future Alex is upset that Rebecca ignored his warnings, even though he knew something sinister was headed their way. Suddenly, he remembered he wasn't the only cryptographer hired by ARIST, so he looked up Beth Carter's address and drove all the way to California. Beth seems reluctant to talk initially, but he reassures her that he isn't working with the government. He mentions how he found her name etched on the bedpost and he wanted to talk to her about the strange things he is seeing, but no one else believes him, since he is sick with only 6 months to go. Beth welcomes him inside and informs him that she only has 2 months left. She confirms that the machine was a weapon intended to destroy the human race. Beth mentions she has been talking to someone called Cypherman for a month, who keeps giving her problems to solve as a distraction from her pain. Suddenly, Beth feels overwhelmed with fatigue, so Alex helps her get into bed. Then he heads downstairs where he visualizes how Beth lived a life with her partner until he died in the line of duty. Depressed, Beth tried to take her life with a handful of pills. Just then, Alex got distracted by a message from Cypherman, who realizes early on in the conversation that it is not Beth answering him. The next morning, Beth wakes up to find Alex on her couch with her chats with Cypherman scattered all around. He wakes up and tells her that if they work on this, they might be able to figure out a way to stop the government from making the death machine. Beth is reluctant because she only got sick after working near that dangerous machine, after which she started having hallucinations, making her wonder if they could contact the source. She even sees aliens and hears the voices of the dead, including hers. With all of this going on, she asks Alex to leave, stating that none of them should have signed up for this job. When Alex gets back home, he finds Rebecca and her men waiting for him. Rebecca asks her to utilize his remaining time wisely and to stay away from Beth. Alex taunts her for setting him up, but she reminds him that he wasn't the only one exposed to that radiation, implying that she got sick too. When Alex enters his house, he finds out that all his research and papers are missing. On the other hand, Beth notices a bright light outside her house which turns red and scares her out of her wits, making her sick. Meanwhile, Alex tries to escape reality through alcohol, but a message from Cypherman shows up on his screen. He is convinced it's Rebecca, but Cypherman denies it. Just then, Beth shows up at Alex's house and brings along some files. As it happens, Cypherman gave her some blueprints that could make a machine necessary to destroy the technology at ARIST. The two waste no time and start developing a virus intended to destroy the machine being made from the codes they decrypted. The next morning, Rebecca urgently knocks at the door and barges into Alex's house. She informs the two that she knows Cypherman and has been trying to sabotage this mission from the inside for a long time. However, ARIST is aware of their work, and a team is on its way to arrest her. She tells them to find one of the company's founders, Mike Driscoll, and asks them to leave instantly. Alex figures out it was Rebecca who etched Beth's name on his bed to help him. Shortly after, Alex and Beth escape, while seconds later, the black SUV arrives and the men in black find Rebecca inside. They give her an injection and put her body in a bag, which they stash inside their car, while leaving all the gas burners open to burn down any evidence left behind at Alex's residence. On the other hand, Alex and Beth reach Miles's house and learn that he already knows them. As it happens, there was another satellite that orbited the Earth for 400 years, which was sent by unknown creatures from the future, waiting for the Earth inhabitants to fly and decrypt the code in it. However, it was also intended that the humans wouldn't evolve beyond the third dimension, which is why the satellite contained blueprints for a war machine. When Miles shared this information with the board, they dismissed it. He also developed a tumor, although non-fatal. Miles says that the machine being constructed from the blueprints Alex and Beth solved will likely allow the aliens to access the human dimension and alter its existing reality. Miles also reveals that he has been in contact with one of the aliens that's been living in his yard for over 30 years. However, Beth and Alex are unable to see the humanoid. Miles believes that the tumors they have are vessels that help them connect with the aliens. Alex suggests destroying the machine instantly, but in order to avoid it from being reconstructed again, they need to erase all the data for good. Just as Miles gives them a detailed map of the Institute, a loud thud disturbs them. Alex and Beth leave instantly and head to the secret site of the Institute, while Miles tries to calm his yard humanoid. Once they enter the facility through a hatch, they go their separate ways to find the lab. Alex realizes that the guards are working strangely, which shows that time inside the facility is in a loop. Similarly, Beth realizes she is stuck in a loop too, so she activates a bomb, but is unable to escape from her loop. Trying to carry the bomb to the lab, Alex enters a dark room, but the alien touches him, which pulverizes him instantly. In the next scene, Alex wakes up finding himself tied to a chair in front of the alien humanoid, who has a hard time grasping the phenomenon of the linear dimension in which humans exist. He asks many deep questions, wondering why humans hide from death when it is certain, how they make decisions, and how humans can never understand the difference between illusion and reality. The conversation makes Alex's head spin, and the humanoid asks him if he wishes to go to a time when he wasn't sick. Alex yells at it that if he knew all of this then, he would never have taken that job. However, humans do not get to choose what happens to them in the future. This leaves the humanoid very confused. He asks if he wishes to go back to the past with all this information, and suddenly, Alex finds himself in his living room and decides to record this message for the present version of Alex. He tells him that everything is already written and cannot be changed and has already happened somewhere in time. In the end, the future Alex asks the present version to warn Beth and lie to her so she never knows the truth and lives a normal life in peace. After that, he asks himself to forget everything so he can move on until his end. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Watch the next videos on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.